I saw polls today on television saying Donald Trump polls on the economy aren't good. The economy is the greatest economy we've ever had by far. The economy aren't good.
Aren't the economy good? Well, this is devastating news for those of us who actually care about English grammar. And welcome to this week's episode of Trump Trolls Trump. We are looking back at week 81 because as of today, it has been 565 days since Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2025, and Donald's promise that we have indeed entered the golden lame age. Now, everyone who is sentient knows that the cost of nearly everything is going up, from gas to groceries. But this is something Donald will never admit, because that would be akin to admitting he's wrong, which in this instance he is, because it is entirely his fault. Now, he certainly isn't going to come clean about who's devastating our economy. Pro tip, he is, with the midterms only 87 days away. So he's sticking to his economic message. And it's not just that the economy are good. This is his message. It doesn't matter what you're paying. Doesn't matter what you're experiencing. The polls are wrong. You're wrong. Your own lying eyes are wrong. And the economy has never been better because he is, and this is a direct quote from Donald, quote, doing a great job, unquote. People are starting to talk about it.
We're doing an unbelievable job. Costs are coming way down. I inherited, they talk about costs. I inherited very, very high costs, and they're all coming down now. The food, the groceries, it's all coming down. We've done a great job. I think we should be given an A+ on the economy, but I think that's coming. People are starting to talk about it.
Just an A+? I personally blame Herbert Hoover for our terrible economy and rising inflation and the fact that farmers are going bankrupt thanks to, I guess, Herbert Hoover. But let's go to Fox Business, the financial wing of state television, where Stuart Varney is joined by the always fun chicken whisperer, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. She of the backyard chickens, which, if you live in Manhattan, is a very practical solution to the high price of eggs. Now, Rollins, like her boss, unsurprisingly, also insists that grocery and beef prices are coming down. There's just one problem with that, because even once in a while, Fox is forced to give us the facts, heaven forfend. Just watch the graphic on Fox's own screen while Backyard Chicken Woman is telling us how great the economy is.
The biggest economic challenges we're facing, it's the cost of food and groceries. Ground beef up 12.4% year over year. Milk up 9% year over year. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins joins me now. Eggs are down 27%, but when should the rest of us, as Americans, expect to see meaningful relief on other items?
What we inherited was unbelievable. And since we're talking food, let me talk about that for just a second. In the 4 years of Joe Biden, the cost of food went up 25%, which is just stunning. Over the last year and a half, we're at about 3%, which aligns with the national average. So all in, we're actually aligned with that national average. And you're right, eggs are actually down way more than, I think you said 17%. I think they're actually down about 90%. Berries are down, fruits are down, chicken breasts are down, but there are some outliers. One of those is beef. Having said that, our cost today of ground beef is actually down from where it was 6 months ago. So we're trending in the right direction. But the president is right. As soon as we get the job done in Iran, the gas and fuel prices start coming way down again, and we'll begin to see even more relief.
Great journalism, Stuart Varney, because even you must know the difference between plus and minus signs. By the way, just quick aside, I am going to take a credit, because it's genetic, for the fact that egg prices have fallen so precipitously because of the chicken coop I set up in the back hallway of my apartment building. The number of eggs we were producing back there is just stunning, and the chickens are so happy. But how are things going in the energy sector? Because I'm pretty sure whatever happens there is going to have an impact on prices overall. So of course we want to turn to noted energy expert, obnoxious Republican candidate for governor of Ohio, Vivek Ramaswamy. His qualifications, well, they're innumerable, but I'll name a few. He's a failed presidential candidate. He is a multi-millionaire former hedge fund guy. He's an executive and professional MAGA sycophant who now somehow thinks he's qualified to be the executive of a state. And again, he's really, really obnoxious. So it's probably that last thing that makes him qualified to talk about things of which he has absolutely no knowledge. So let us see what the future holds for energy costs in America, according to this guy.
Look at the energy policies, including under the Trump administration, producing more energy, oil, gas, and now nuclear energy in our country at a pace we have not seen in history. Eventually, electricity and power are going to be free in this country.
Really? Free? Free. I'm pretty sure oil companies might have something to say about that. Speaking of energy that could potentially have been free, like wind energy, the Trump regime just paid a company that was going to be building wind farms in this country over $7 billion of our money not to do that. What I will say in Vivek Ramaswamy's favor, and this is probably only true when he's speaking with Jesse Waters, is that his face isn't quite as punchable as Jesse Waters' face. So that's something. Of course, running the Trump regime requires a certain amount of finesse. Yes, we're just going to go with that. More importantly, it requires knowing when to call in the experts. When we have a problem, we go to experts. When we have a question, we ask the experts. But where do you go when you need someone who knows more about everything than everybody else? Knows more about energy, more the economy, the way taxes work, technology, trade, infrastructure, housing, nuclear, grass, military strategy, and Europe. There's only one guy. Sorry, not that guy. This guy.
Look, you have to stop illegal immigration in Europe. I know Europe better than anybody, better than the people that run it, and have great relationships here. Two things are killing Europe. Number one is immigration, number two is energy. They have a problem with immigration, they have a problem with energy. You have windmills all over the place. Windmills, you lose your shirt. Any country with windmills is a loser, okay? You just have to look. If they have windmills, they're a loser.
All because he feels like Scotland ruined the view from his golf course by putting up a couple of windmills, and he hates having his hair mussed up. Okay. Some news came out on Thursday that I found genuinely shocking. Donald, as you know, is a constitutional scholar. And that's actually not the shocking news. And he was speaking to a room full of NCAA national champions at the White House when he revealed something that not only stunned the people in the room, but has shaken our already traumatized nation to the core.
And already we've done a lot to help save women's sports, and we're also saving college sports. We're in the process of working very hard. We had a bad judge's decision, and a judge that knew nothing about sports declared sports unconstitutional. Can you believe it?
Really? I'm not so sure. Because even though not enough people seem to be too bothered that the Trump regime is terrorizing the trans community or indiscriminately and unconstitutionally murdering people in the Caribbean Sea or waging an illegal unconstitutional war of choice against Iran. I think if sports were declared unconstitutional, that would get people in the streets. What should be unconstitutional, of course, is cheating at golf. And before we go on, I owe Hermie, the dentist from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, an elf who aspired to be a dentist, I should say, an apology. That is not the look Donald was going for. Yes, Donald comes by it honestly. That's his mother. My grandmother. Lucky me. If you enjoyed this kind of content, please drop us a like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to leave a comment below. Okay, now, Americans are struggling with some very, very serious issues. It is literally coming down to trying to figure out if they should buy groceries or if they should put gas in the car. Can they pay rent or can they go to the doctor? Healthcare is already becoming harder to afford and harder to access, and the cuts that are heading our way are only going to make things worse. Donald, meanwhile, is faced with some very serious questions and some very serious decisions of his own. And on Monday, during an Oval Office executive order signing, we got a very clear look at exactly the kind of momentous and potentially existential decisions the commander-in-chief of the United States is most concerned about.
That was the one mistake with the reflecting pond. They hadn't put up the cameras yet. They had enough up because you see what's happening. But if they would have had them up, we would have had it would have been a lot easier. And I was disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. Really disappointed with Jeanine Pirro. She folded like an umbrella. And people get away with things, and it's a disgrace. But we're very proud of Lafayette Park. Now we have a big decision to make. Do we take the pavers that are red, the red brick pavers, and do we change them into a granite? To gray granite, they're beautiful, but they're not the original. So we're gonna have to make that decision. You have a good sense of taste. What would you do? Huh?
Yes, change it.
You would change the red brick into the granite.
Heartbeat.
The granite is much stronger, holds up much better. Different color.
Wait a minute. What about the really important issue here? Are you going to pour gold leaf on it? Jesus. Once again, proving that he has his fingers on the pulse of what matters most to him. One last thing. Speaking of waste, fraud, and abuse, I sometimes have to wonder if people can hear themselves when they're talking. I mean, we know for a fact that Donald can't. But in this clip we're going to play for you, the nation's foremost fraud investigator, and yes, of course, I am speaking of Vice President, baby J.D. Vance, delivers a passionate warning to Fox State TV's Laura Ingraham. And this is about an issue that should concern all of us. It's about public officials who commit fraud, enrich themselves at the expense of the American taxpayer. Now, I never want to be accused of agreeing with baby JD Vance. So I'm simply going to ask, baby JD, can you hear yourself talking?
I don't care where you came from. I don't care what your name is. If you are committing fraud against the American people, all of us in public leadership should be trying to stop it and try to throw you in prison for enriching yourself off the American taxpayer.
I'm going to be very helpful right now. Jamaica Estates, Queens, New York, Donald John Trump. There you go. I just made it easier for you to make your first citizen's arrest for fraud against the American people. Thanks, baby JD. And thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode of Trump Trolls Trump. The idiocy, the incompetence, and the grifting are never in short supply. No, not when we are surrounded by incompetent morons who have no shame. So we're going to be here every single week to hold a mirror up to these grifters and traitors and mock them relentlessly, because mockery is our superpower and they make it so very easy. So don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think. And please like and share this video with your friends and especially your enemies. Until next time.